Oh, the mic. Yeah, there it is. We have the mic working. How are y'all doing? How is the harping in the great out yonder? This is actually the first caffeine I've had this week. We'll see how I do with it. Without further ado, we'll get into some harping. Oh, it's been a nice week this week, especially there toward the end. We had 66 degrees today, but not without a fair bit of wind. Hey, Juan Camillo. Hey, how you doing, Nick Coleman? How's things out yonder? How's the harping? Bailey Little 64. G'day, mate. Right back at you. I don't think I probably said that right, but g'day, mate. Hey, Joe Oswowski, how you doing? How's the harping treating you? What have you been playing? What harps have you been into? Last night, I about lost my mind on a little Van Drak Drimba. Just went way out. Where are you at? Drimba. Went way out in left field on it. Hey, Jonathan Riles, how you doing? On this little harp, they're not very loud, but man, I got down on it last night. And I do enjoy a really quiet harp late at night because that way I don't wake up the little man who sleeps upstairs and I can just shred on a harp. If you can even say that, shred on a harp. There I'm yuck, yuck. I'm punching it in breath and yuck, yuck. There at the back of there. Which harp is the rarest for you? Let's see. This one I'm playing isn't very rare right now, but it's probably going to be a really rare harp in the future. The Van Drak. Hey, George Campbell, how you doing? The Van Drak. He passed away not last June, but would have been in the June before. No, it was this June. So they're going to become pretty rare. They're just little melodic tools, really delicate. Probably the rarest harp. Probably the Chimchoyev. Chimchoyev Mammoth would probably be one of the more rare ones, or these little ones. And you can find them on several different websites. I'll have them on my website probably by the end of the month. These are Gangong. They're out of Sumatra. Steve Kindwald picks them up. And these aren't super sensitive harps. The Chimchoyev, however, is really sensitive. If you play it really hard, it just screams loud. If you play it softly, you get good melodic content. There's a lot going on in the Chimchoyev, which is probably why he won so many awards, because it's not a harp that just does one thing. It seems like a conglomeration of a whole bunch of different good traits. But this is Gingong and iron. And I'll play the Chemchoyev a little bit. I can play it softly. It's a pretty loud player, though. Oh, I got some Romanov in next weekend. By next weekend, it might be by tomorrow. I might have the unboxing up on it. The Romanov I got in are super loud. Really sensitive. We'll play the Chemchoyev, then we'll play a Romanov. I like one thing about these Yakutian harps I've been getting in. I've always stressed hardwood, really heavy cases. The Yakutian harps, all the woods they use are super light. I think that's a really smart thing to do. Why make a case heavier than it needs to be? But yeah, they use really light wood. Some of them. Where are you at, my friend? If and I can find them. I don't know where they're at right now. They look almost like an orange corkwood. Yeah, the Akuti and Homuses have a lot. There's a lot of melodic nature in some of them, and like the Gogolov I had was like a really pulsating bass. Seems like Yakutian harps aren't one style; they're a whole bunch of different styles and traits. The Mandarov I got in plays similar to a Gorka, a little bit louder than that, but that melodic, clean nature. Get good. It seems like you get good melodic content out of a Chomchoyev if you're plucking it really, really gently. When you start to open it up, it really starts screaming. I can't play it too loud because the little man just went to sleep. That's something I've been doing a lot of as of late. Play a lullaby, something slow. I'm not very good at like playing specific things. Most of the time when I play, I just kind of flow. But what I was doing there, whether it's opening and closing on my percussive, it feels like you're saying, and on the, I'm closing my glottis. It sounds like I'm plucking really fast. I'm not actually plucking that fast. I'm doing my open and close pretty fast, and I'm doing my percussive fast on top of or behind that. He said, play a lullaby. I don't know if I can play a lullaby, but let's just give it a try. It'd need to be something melodic if it'd be a lullaby. I don't know if I can play any specific lullaby, but I'll play something lullaby like, hey, Fangin' Surface Lewis, what are you up to, man? How's things on the East Coast? How's the weather been? It's been nice here, but it's been earlier part of the week was really super windy. Yeah, I don't think I can play that super specific, but I'll just play something lullaby like. started off as kind of lullaby-like, and then I just went with it. Whew, that was a good rhythm. Made me super lightheaded. I've been doing a lot more cardio, a lot more working out this week. Trying to stay more religious on my cardio so that I can play the harp a little better. Oh, that was a good rhythm. I like that. A lot of clothes in there. Oh, thank you. And be sure to check out Fang and Surface. He's on Instagram and also on Facebook. He makes really cool videos on the harp as well. Jonathan Rouse, thank you. I was on I wish I could get these in the store. I can't find the source for these. These are Tartar Kubies, and they are for like melodic harps under $30. They're killer. I can't actually find the maker. Oh, how am I? I am well. What's the cost on like one of these? I don't know any place that has them on stock at the moment, but they're around $27 to $30. But I can't actually find the maker. I think you have to go visit him in Russia to get his harps. I don't know if he has email or anything like that. I don't know if I can contact him. But yeah, I highly suggest when you get Tartar standards, they're killer for not very much money. What else will we play? Well, I'm gonna play. The Romanov. Romanov are expensive, but they're really gapped really nice. Let me just grab one here. Bill Goring. I need to find you. I'm going to be having them on the website within the next month. Yeah. Just message me about them. But yeah, they're gapped super tight. They're a 3-mount. Kind of like the Bert Savar. But they're a screwed mount. And the reed on them is 3-mount, and then it's this pear shape that goes down. They look like a giant, I would say they look like a giant Goring harp, but 3-mount, kind of that same shape. And he does actually have a Bill Goring tribute. Fang and Surface got a killer Bill Goring tribute. That one in E was killer. I probably don't need the microphone up here anymore. I initially moved it up so that I could play the drimba, so I've probably been overdoing it on that mic a little bit. Yeah, those Romanov. I kept one for myself. I kept a Yorick. I'm probably going to keep one of the Borovoy ones as well. The Yorick are one of the screaming louder harps I played. I know one harp that's louder. A Govatsoyev or Gotsoyev. Those flat horse ones are about the loudest harps I've ever played. But they're not melodic. This has some melodic nature to it, some saturation nature to it. I think they might be laser cut stainless, but they're not flat fronted like a Glaser, and they're actually dual sided. The long side, the angle on it is longer than on the front, and then there's a shorter angle. They're really cool. The fit and finish on them's nice, and the way the gaps are set up that tight, I'm just using tiny breaths of air. Cases are cool. Cases are really big and bulky, though. Cool cases. Anyways, we'll quit talking about the harps. Get back into playing what's really important. Don't know if the cases are laser cut or not, but they do look handish made. What should we play? I've been getting down on Morsing as of late, which is about my favorite draw starter of the Morsing, but they're really high up in tone, so it's kind of playing above what I normally play. There's not a ton of sustain to a Morsing. There's a little bit. But you use that in-breath, or at least I do. I don't know how traditional Morsing players do it, but I use a constant in-breath to keep it rolling. I find the... oh, thank you, M. Hasby. What harps have you been into? Are you into the harps? One thing I've found about the Morsing, if you just do the in-breath... I'll get this rolling here. It's not as clean as just breathing kind of a constant in-breath into your breathing circuit, if we can call it a breathing circuit. Because you don't have that danger you have in other harps of doing a constant in-breath. It's stopping the reed, returning it back to a resting position. The resting position of the reed, or is what I call it, sits slightly in front of the frame. So as long as you're drawing in, it keeps sustaining because the reed wants to spring back. Its rested position is in front of the decks. On a normal harp, if you keep that in-breath going the whole time, it'll slow the reed down because it pulls it back to its rested position. And I'm just doing a percussive and drawing in. If you could truly shoot harps from your eyes, would you ever run low on your... No, probably. I've got quite a few harps because I have a harp store, but it'd be a cool way of getting harps out there. Somebody said if I could shoot harps on my eyes, I did. I always try on my thumbnails. I always try, especially my live ones, because I'm not very serious of a person. I always try to do every thumbnail stupider or creepier or weirder than the last. So it's been a long-running quest to make the dumbest thumbnail in existence. That way, when somebody clicks on it, they know you're signing up for some stupidity. There I'm plucking and I'm punching that in breath. Yeah, but in. And I'm getting that closed in there. If I was saying like, yo, but in. There I'm not even doing my percussive, but it sounds almost percussive because I'm punching that in breath. Yo. Can throw those percussives in there too. Like yot. There I start out with a yot, and then I yot. But I'm trying to do a lot of in breaths and then letting a lot of out breath out past the harp. I'm doing that in breath, and I'm doing some open close, and I'm also punching an out breath, but I'm letting my lips off the harp, so a lot of the air goes past it. But instead of doing it out, I'm doing a lot of it in. Because whatever you do on an out breath, percussive wise, you can do on an in breath as well. We'll try it. We'll just do a on that out breath, and then when I run out of air, when I've gotten rid of all my air, I'll start doing it on the in breath. I'm going to be putting some Morsing back up on the site in the next couple of weeks. And I'm going to be taking them out. I'm going to take and put them on the wire wheel because when the Morsing show up from the manufacturer, they're pretty rough. They don't feel very good. Is that technique more difficult on different types of harps? Yes. Morsing are dedicated draw starters, and they're higher up in tone with pretty stiff reeds, so they really work out well for this. If you have a harp that doesn't have a reed offset forward, that in breath that I'm punching to kind of keep it rolling. If you punch that in breath, I'll just do that on a harp. What can I do? something that's not offset forward. See, when I punch that in breath on this Mohan Peacock, which the rested position is in the center, it kills it just like most of your other harps, Salagis, Glaser, and all those others that aren't offset forward. You're pulling it, when you punch it in breath, you're pulling it back, you're pulling back on the reed, and it wants to rest in the center, so it stops the sound. On a Morsing or some of the Gorka that are dedicated draw starters, it's resting in front. So something that's a dedicated draw starting harp will be easier to do that with. Especially like what I was doing there. I was hammering on it, and it was on a stiff reed. It seemed to help. But I'm going to be taking a lot of the Morsing, which tell them to do. They're not expensive. They're pretty rough finished. I'm going to take them out at the wire wheel and clean them up, make them nice and smooth. Because the Morsing, the way they come, it doesn't feel very good on your mouth because they're pretty rough. And I'm going to put a warning or a disclaimer on Morsing and some of the Morchang, especially some of the stiffer reeded higher ones. Some people have gotten Morsing and Morchang and they really didn't enjoy them because they're more used to like lower tone harps that aren't as stiff reeded and are more saturated. So if you're used to like a Glaserin or a Zlagi and you buy like a Morsing, which is really high pitched, or a lot of the Morchang that has no saturation, you're going to have to change the way you play the harp to get satisfactory results out of it. A lot of the harps that are more saturated, and especially lower in tone, you get used to playing them, and it's more difficult to branch out. I think it's easier to come from a background of playing something that's unsaturated, going to saturated tones, than going from a saturated style of harp to an unsaturated. But I compare it to like two different types of harp. You're not going to be able to play two different types of harp the same exact way because they're two different instruments, they're two different styles. If you want something that plays more the same, then stick to the style you're used to. But if you're looking to branch out, Morchang and Morsing. But if you get one, don't expect it to be saturated and crackling and really as easy to play as like the Glaserin are. What's the difference between saturated and not saturated? That is an excellent question. I didn't know that. I knew what saturation felt like and sounded like for the longest time. Didn't know what it was or how to explain it. What saturation is, somebody more knowledgeable than I explained it to me, is an abundance of higher overtones, which creates that crackling. Like if we pick up the classic instrument that I would call that's saturated, we just pick up a Glaserin Star. There's a lot of crackliness. You can hear that cracklingness, that that's going on. Those are all the higher overtones, because I may explain this wrong, but this is the way my understanding is. We're producing a fundamental tone, that we're producing overtones over the top of it, I think, that go way up. I'm probably not explaining that very well at all. I'm not very learned. I do enjoy harps quite a bit. Another really saturated instrument would be like the Salagi, are really saturated, really crackly. Examples of instruments that are not saturated at all are like Parmapol, your Monop, also most of your Morchang. Let's see if we can just grab something. I don't know how much saturation a Monop has, because that saturation, a lot of time, that cracklingness that you get from some of the Salagi, most of the Glaserin, cover up a lot of your melodic nature, your open and close. You can still do open close on them, and it sounds great, but you don't. It seems like you don't pick up the subtlety as much. You can't hear the subtlety as much just because that crackling nature covers up a lot of it. And I'm not making big changes. It seems like when I first started playing the harp, I was playing a lot of Glaser and a lot of Salagi harps. I was jumping more around in my tones. One of my good friends, Hussein Lahiri from the Ministry of Harps, told me, well, you need to just pick a certain range and practice the subtlety in those ranges on your open close, because there for the longest time I didn't know about open close, opening and closing the glottis, like when we say mitten, kitten, bottle, that opening and closing the glottis. Open is breathing, close the glottis, which I believe is in between your vocal folds, closes. If I was to go, I think that once you learn, what I think is like every single harp has something to teach you if you're willing to listen. Especially when I first started playing, I was really closed-minded. I had played a few Solagi harps, and I wanted all harps to play like that. I wanted all harps to have that crackling, really saturated nature, and I was closed-minded when it came to other harp. And what I now try to do is I try to kind of submit to the will of the harp, play the harp and see like, well, where does it want to play? Some harps are really loud. There's really tight gaps. You have a lot of back pressure or resistance to work against. Some harps are looser gapped, but they're cleaner in sound, and you got to apply more breath to them. So what I found is that I try to draw something different from every harp. Every harp, I try to let it teach me a little bit. When I play a harp, a lot of the times I'm playing similar rhythms, similar percussives, similar open-close styles, but the improvisation, the subtlety, the manipulation, the small tones, I'm not making huge jumps from here to here in my mouth. I'm drifting along, going up and down and all around. Something that's also not saturated, like the Rekka are really unsaturated. Some of them have a touch of saturation to it, but most of them play very, very clean, especially the newer ones. Earlier on, the Rekka were a lot rougher of a harp. Yes, like somebody said, it's kind of like a dance. Yes, it's like a dance, or like what I think of in my mind is it feels like a wheel turning when I'm going up and I'm going down, and everything comes full circle. Kind of like in music, there's probably a term for that, like a bar or a measure where things come back around and they kind of restart. But I kind of think of like a wheel turning, and you just keep going around. You kind of touch back to where you're going, and it keeps the same time, and then you pick up a little bit of something else, and you'll come back to where you was, and then it'll continually change throughout that. This is a Rekka twist, really unsaturated. The gaps are bigger. Some of the gaps on the Rekka twist are a lot tighter. This one I kept for myself just because it was cleaner. Sometimes having that larger gaps, and I've noticed on some of the Yakutian harps, you'll have a little bit wider of a gap because it gives you that cleaner tone, leads to a less saturation, I think. I'll just see if I can play that same rhythm on my chancer, which is going to be lower in tone, but we'll just see. My chancer is fairly saturated. The saturation kind of covers up my little steps I'm going up. So it kind of fuzzes it all together. There's a lot of really awesome rhythmic stuff you can do with the Solagi harps, and I do like the Solagi harps. I actually took my Blackfire set to the Bluegrass Festival I was at, just because it had that crackling, loud, piercing nature. A harp like this isn't going to be as piercing because it was the little stage I performed on with some friends. It was all acoustic on the smaller stages, so I needed something to cut through. So I brought my Blackfires, and somebody just commented, and I didn't quite catch it. I think that I like the saturated sound. See, one thing about the saturated harps is they're a little bit easier to play, especially at first, because the saturated sound does a lot of the work for you. It covers up your transitions if they're not smooth. A harp that's unsaturated doesn't cover anything up, and you don't have that crackling nature to work with. So that's why the unsaturated ones respond better to your open close, because you can just hear it better, you can feel it better. But I like playing a couple unsaturated ones, and then I'll play a saturated one, then play an unsaturated one. But a lot of times too, the saturated ones are louder because that crackling, that screaming loud nature. We're gonna play, what time? We're at 30 minutes in. We'll play one or two more harps, and then we'll call it good. What should we play? Play something really. I'm gonna play an old record, old hybrid. But if you play an unsaturated instrument, one of the requirements of it will be learning open close. But I suggest to everyone out there, learn and practice open close, because whether you're playing something unsaturated or something saturated, you're gaining access to the other 50% of the instrument. If you're only playing your open tones, you're only accessing a part of what the harp has to offer. In your closed tones, you can use your glottis. Your glottis actually moves a lot faster than your finger can. A lot of times it sounds like I'm playing really fast. I'm not plucking that fast. And I don't like in general to pluck really fast, because if I'm plucking really fast, the reed is stopping a lot. So I'm losing a lot of the vibration, a lot of the resonance that I build up. Hey, Jamie, can you play one of your La Rosa harps? Oh, yeah. Haven't played a while this one. Giuseppe La Rosa. Where you at? Big. Can't even think right now. Big Italian harp or Sicilian. Actually, the best one I've ever played made by him went to a good friend named George. This is actually a bass Maranzano. Bass, it's down around E, which is bassy for Maranzano. Most of Maranzano, I believe, are C3 and above, which is like high as Morchang and higher. But all the makers are branching out into bassier ones. Ones that made bassy ones are branching out into higher ones. It's a beautiful time in harp making. Hey, Privyet, Dr. Momental. Hey, Privyet, welcome to the Harpery. How you doing? How's things way over yonder? I hope you're getting some warmer weather. I know for a while there, it was getting cold in Russia, as Russia normally is. It gets cold here in Kansas, but not as cold as it gets way up yonder. Can you play in nasal passage, Evo? Oh yeah, I think a lot of your diaphragm has something to do with the heart, but also sometimes I'll play and just breathe in and out through my nose. I call those breathless play. I don't know what harpists better than I call them. You have a nasal issue though. Yeah, I do have, my nose does not work well. It's, I have allergies, and my nose has been broken quite a few times. I think 5 times from some boxing and MMA and other things that I did in my youth. Let's find something that works well for that. But breathing in and out through your nose, and I don't move a whole bunch of air through there, but I'll just do breathing out through in and out through the nose, and you'll get these bell tones. The Mohan is one he gifted me out of the last batch he made. Hey, good night. Sleep well, Michael Dorr. Those are all open tones. I'm just breathing in and out through my nose. Let's go ahead and let's throw some close in there. And we're going to go ahead and wrap this up. I love y'all. Thank you so much for tuning in. I'm going to be doing more videos on the weekend. I had a 2-week time off from the harps where I could work on my business, spend some time with my family, get my mind right, all this and that. But we're going to have lots of new videos coming out on the weekends when I can. I love y'all. Keep your harps clean, keep them dry, keep them oiled. We're moving on into springtime, and some of y'all at the bottom of the world are probably moving into fall. I love y'all. Keep your harps clean, keep them dry, keep them oiled. Be sure to click the bell icon so you can have notifications. And if anyone is interested in being put on the live update feed, find me on Facebook, and I will add you to on Messenger. I have a live update thing where 15 minutes beforehand I let you know. But anyways, I love y'all. Harp out.